What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. On this video, we're going to be talking about first what the biggest mistakes that new traders are making, especially this year in 2025. I'm going to speak from personal experience and give you an example of how scary this mistake could be and how to avoid it. I'm going to be talking about some altcoin setups as well, which will include Telcoin, Onyxcoin, as well as Mystery on Crow, which is a technical analysis request that I saw from one of my subscribers. We're also going to be taking a look into Bitcoin, of course, which is the driver of the entire crypto markets. If Bitcoin dumps, well, your altcoins are going to be dumping most likely and very shortly after. So we're going to be taking a look into that. And of course, if you guys are new to this channel, you guys should know that I dive deep into the charts every day to find the moves before they actually happen with charts, with technical analysis. So if you guys do want to learn technical analysis and see the markets much more clearly for yourselves, you guys got to subscribe, like, comment on this video if you guys have any questions or any opinions. I also do want to respond to some comments by my subscribers, which I think are fair and constructive. I think most comments I've been receiving are very constructive, and I appreciate that. I think one of the comments I received was, I gotta be more concise. And yes, I do think I need to be a little bit more concise. I do feel that some points I am being a little bit more repetitive about, but I think they are very important points. But nevertheless, I'll try to shorten it up, right? Thumbnails, right? Thumbnails. I got some comments about my thumbnails. Why am I acting very surprised on the thumbnails? Well, it's because it increases my click-through rate on YouTube. That's just part of the game. I've compared my thumbnails where I am serious, I am not surprised, even though, a lot of the things in this market doesn't really surprise me as much anymore after trading for a couple of years. But that is what gets people to click, and I think it's still a valid reaction, especially for new traders. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into Bitcoin here and see what is going on. Okay, Bitcoin, the markets are mainly up today. Okay, Bitcoin up over 0.5%, still consolidating underneath 1.5 up 105k here. A very important level, at least in the short term, because we don't really have that much data on 105k, and right now we're really looking at this double bottom pattern I pointed out yesterday, okay, which could probably be more visible on the 6-hour time frame, right? So double bottoms are usually reversal patterns, and they usually break to the upside. If this one actually breaks the upside here, price target is going to be about almost 110k, which is the previous all-time highs. And what I'm really looking for is for Bitcoin to break above 110k. A clean break, of course. We're going to be following that, and I'm going to be giving you my opinion on what I think of the breakout if we actually break. Of course, I think we're most likely going to break it, and it's only a matter of time until the official start of this altcoin season. But until we actually break 110k, we're still consolidating. We could still see some pretty good price action. Let's take a look into Total 3, which is altcoin market cap excluding Ethereum. Now, I know I'm still going to answer your question about what the biggest mistake is that new traders make. Just stick around. I'm going to illustrate a point here. All right, Total 3 here. Now, this is another chart that I follow because it tells me what the direction of the total altcoin markets are going, right? At least as a whole. Now, this broke out of a falling wedge pattern, daily time frame. Falling wedges are going to be very common patterns you guys will be seeing. Broke out of this. Price target is right underneath 1.1 trillion. Okay, we are not exactly there yet. Now, price targets are estimates only. It could be more, it could be less. Okay, but it's still a good idea to know where you're going. Now, it did cross the daily 200 SMA, which is the orange line. In my opinion, that is a bullish retest, right? And it looks very good right now in terms of the entire altcoin markets. Let's take a look into ES1 exclamation mark, which is S&P 500. You gotta know what markets are correlated, right? And what I just pointed out are basically the compass for altcoins, right? Because, I trade Bitcoin on leverage, but, when it's not on leverage, it's not as fun to trade because I don't have a big bag, right? So I gotta trade leverage. That is just me. I don't recommend people doing it if they don't have some success in trading spots. Okay. Now, ES1 exclamation mark highly correlated with Bitcoin, which affects the altcoin markets. Got to pay attention to this as well because we still do have that break up of the daily 200 SMA, right? Significance of price action above daily 200 SMA. Look that up for yourself. Okay, I encourage you guys to do a lot of research on yourself, especially on these technical analysis terms that I'm throwing out. All right, so ES1 exclamation mark looking very good. Okay, let's take a look into an example of one mistake that could be very costly to new traders. And once I stop chasing this mistake or performing this mistake, my results became a lot better. Okay, let's take this coin as an example because I think it's a very good example of how new traders could get wrecked. This is Ergo. Okay, not too long ago, this coin has basically went from, in about like maybe 2 weeks time, right? It went from about 5 cents to almost 75 cents, right? Now, one mistake that I'm speaking from personal experience, and I'm sure a lot of other new traders are doing it, and how do I know that? Is because the price just kept pumping, right? I'm sure it's not the profitable traders that are pumping this candle, right? Especially from 43 cents to 75 cents. It's got to be the new traders, right? That are just, they don't see that they're actually chasing they're chasing a move that's already happening. And that's very risky, right? Because if you guys actually see, what happened afterwards is that it went up to 75 cents and crashed completely down here to about 12 cents. And if I was a new trader, and especially if I have a lot of my portfolio on the line, that would scare the shit out of anybody, really. So that is one thing I don't really do anymore, right? I mean, I could still chase a green candle sometimes if I know that I am on the lower end of the move, and I'll be sure to take profits along the way, right? I definitely would not be chasing this part of the candle, right, during the day of. So that is something to be keeping in mind and staying away from. Now let's take a look into Mystery on Crow. Okay, this is a request that was submitted by one of my subscribers. And if you guys do have any requests, just drop it in the comment section below. Okay, I'll pick one request every day to do it on the video for you guys. This seems to be a new altcoin. Okay, And what's going on with this altcoin here? It's not going to have a monthly RSI reading, so it's not going to tell me that it's going to be if it's an overbought or territory or not. If it's an overbought territory, that is something to be looking out for. But this is a new coin, so let's take a look. We have very limited data. Let me see if I can even get a pattern in here. Okay, 12-hour time frame. Could this have been it? Now, 3 touches on a trend line in that time frame validates that trend line, and this is going to be a very common pattern that you guys will see. Right? Falling wedge pattern. Measure move of this pattern here. Take the opening of the pattern. Put that measurement on top of an expected or actual breakout point. In this case, already broke out. I think this breakout is still valid. Measure move. It's going to be about, I'm not going to mention all the zeros, but it's going to be 338. So that looks like it's going to be about a triple if it's current price action right now. Now, that is a price target, right? It could be give or take. Let's take a look into a smaller time frame, see what the price action could be doing here. 6 hour. This looks like a possible falling wedge here. Right? Another falling wedge here, which usually breaks to the upside. All right. So smaller pattern. If it breaks out by this point, measure target is going to give you about 167. Okay. So that's basically what I'm looking at for Mystery on Crow. It has very limited data. Now, what I would do personally, right, I like to enter on higher lows or double bottoms. Those are going to be your less risky setups. It's not no risk, it's just lower risk, right? That will give me a huge lead, right, in the position. If you have a good entry, that will give you a huge lead in a position. It's kind of like playing poker, right? If you were to start with a pocket aces, of course you're going to go in with a huge lead over the players, and in this case, over the markets. But how you manage your position afterwards, as the position goes on, that is still up to you to actually learn how to be profitable with the position after you enter into the position. But this is just me, right? I like entering on higher lows and equal lows, which are double bottoms or, depending on the setup. Of course, none of what I'm saying here is financial advice. It's just what I'm doing, okay? So this is basically what I'm seeing for Mystery on Crow. Let's take a look into the next crypto and see if we can find another setup. Telcoin. Take a look into the monthly time frame. Do we have a reading here? We do have a reading, okay? I think this would be a very good way to actually illustrate why I emphasize the monthly RSI so much. The RSI is a very simple but effective indicator that I've been using, okay? And it tells you a couple of things. It tells you if something is overbought. It tells you a strength of a move. It tells you possible reversals that could be coming, which I would say, are very, very effective. So monthly RSI reading, it is not in overbought territory, so it is good. It is in a reading of about 54. Why I look at this is because if you actually take a look into the last time it had a monthly RSI reading in overbought territory, what did it do and how long did the price action stay up there for? And if you held this position, have you made your money back yet? Let's take a look into lower time frame here, weekly time frame. All right, I don't see a particular pattern here on this weekly time frame. It is in between quite a bit of moving averages. What's above it is a resistance. What's below it is support. Let's take a look into 3-day time frame. All right, 3-day time frame. This looks like this is going to be a falling wedge pattern, but probably more valid on a lower time frame, much more clearly on a lower time frame. Right? So, yep, this is what I'm seeing. Falling wedge pattern. Measure move. Out of this pattern. It's going to be about 1.2 cents here. About. Okay? Now, you got to know there's going to be different scenarios that could happen after a breakout. Okay? Fake outs could happen, right? I've seen scenarios where price action breaks out of a pattern and it gets faked out and breaks back into the pattern, right? And that is just one scenario to be taken into consideration of. It's not that once you have broken out of the pattern, it's going to be clean and simple and that you're going to be just cruising your way to the price target. No. Definitely keep charting and see if you can get any hints on where the price action could be going. In this case, let's take a look into a shorter term chart and see if I can get any hints. 4-hour time frame. All right. Another falling wedge. Price target. If it breaks out by this point, gonna give you a price target of about 0.68 cents. All right, let's take a look into Onyxcoin. Pulling back quite a bit today. I do trade this coin on leverage at times because it is a top 100 or top 200 coin, which makes it a little less risky, especially if I'm running on margin or leverage, low on margin on leverage. If you guys trade leverage, you guys know what I'm talking about. This is Onyxcoin. Take a look, monthly time frame. No RSI. Okay, we are not in overbought territory. Weekly time frame. This looks like a falling wedge that has broken out. So I'm not going to chart that, right? It looks like it's broken out, possibly going towards getting near its price targets. What I'm seeing here on the 3-day time frame, however, it looks like a smaller falling wedge. Price action is trying to break out above this upper trend line, right? Take a look into lower time frame, daily time frame. Still on this top trend line, still trying to break out of this. Price targets out of here. All right, I am running low on time, but take the measurement of the opening of the pattern and then put it on top of this actual breakout.